In this video, we'll show you how to change the struts on your Chevy Silverado. You can find them on CarParts.com via the link in the description. For safety reasons, we strongly suggest watching our video on how to jack your Chevy Silverado safely. Remove the wheels to gain complete access to the suspension system. You can now see your vehicle's strut, as well as the upper control arm that needs to be moved aside in order to change the strut. Using a fork, unclip the ABS sensor cable retaining clip located on the wheel knuckle. Using a ratchet and a 10mm socket, unscrew the bolt holding the ABS sensor harness and brake hose bracket to the upper control arm. Using a fork, unclip the ABS sensor cable retaining clip located on the upper control arm. Disconnect it by pushing the red tab and pulling on the pod. Using a screwdriver, unclip the ABS sensor cable retaining clip located on the brake hose bracket. Then move the brake hose aside. Then use a jack to lift the wheel knuckle in order to unscrew the lower ball joint holding nut. Brush the upper control arm ball joint retainer nut and spray it with penetrating oil. Using a 17mm wrench, loosen the upper control arm ball joint nut and unscrew it a few threads. If you do not have a ball joint puller, a tool specifically designed for this task, take a hammer and hit the knuckle. The ball joint should come out of the knuckle. Finish unscrewing the nut. Then remove the upper control arm ball joint from the wheel knuckle. You can now access the strut foot. Brush the two strut foot bolts, then spray them with penetrating oil. Using a ratchet and a 17mm socket, unscrew the two strut foot retaining bolts. Now you need to unscrew the three nuts on the upper strut mount. Using a fork, unclip all the wiring harness clips on the upper strut mount retaining nuts. Brush the three nuts holding the strut mount bearing and spray them with penetrating oil. Then, from the engine compartment, unscrew the three upper strut mount retaining nuts using a ratchet, an extender, and an 18mm socket. The strut is now free. You can remove the strut foot from its slot. Lower the jack to gain the space needed to remove the strut. If necessary, tap with a hammer or pry with a crowbar to facilitate handling. You can now extract the strut. For great content, our best price, and fast shipping, download the CarParts.com app now. Using a flathead screwdriver, remove the speed nuts on the strut so that you can reinstall them on the new one later. You can order the struts used in the video on CarParts.com via the link in the description. Take your new strut, then remove the safety tape. Replace the speed nuts recovered from the old strut. You can use a plastic mallet. Pass the strut through the upper control arm, then install the upper part first. Loosely screw a nut back on to hold it together. Press the lower control arm to gain space for the strut foot. Use the new bolts supplied with the strut. Then loosely screw the two bolts back on. Using a wire brush, brush the knuckle. Then apply silicone grease to the flat part that will be in contact with the rubber boot of the upper ball joint. Using the jack, lift the wheel knuckle unit so that the upper control arm ball joint can be returned into its slot. Secure the assembly by screwing the nut on the ball joint a few threads by hand. Using a ratchet and a 16mm socket, screw the strut foot retaining bolts back in until they make contact. Finish tightening using a torque wrench. Next, screw the 3 nuts that hold the mounts back on until there is contact. Finish tightening using a torque wrench. During this operation, you will be intervening on the front axle of your car, so it is advisable to perform a wheel alignment afterwards. Then reattach the clips. Screw the nut of the upper control arm ball joint back on. Now you can complete the tightening of the upper control arm ball joint with a torque wrench. You can then complete the second ball joint nut tightening phase by adding 100-degree angular clamping. Put the metal bracket back in place and screw it back on. Reconnect the ABS sensor's power cables. Replace the ABS sensor cable and clip it back into its slots. Remove the jack. Then you will be able to put the wheels back on your vehicle. Put the car back on the ground and block the wheels properly. Operation complete.